Okay, I've never played The Forgotten City before, and I don't know anything about it. Don't know what genre it is, don't know anything about the developer or anything at all, so let's check it out. Seems a little loud in the equalizer, so I'm going to turn it down a hair, but let me know if it's too quiet later. Looks like it's having a resolution change, which sometimes causes my graphics card to shit the bed, so hopefully it... Oh, it seems to be okay with it. I have a controller for this, which I think works. Dear content creators, you'll discover this game is full of intrigue and plot twists. Please give your audience a spoiler warning before sharing content from beyond the white hallway. Right on. Spoiler warning. Core team of 3 people over 4 years. Wow, that's pretty small. This is a mystery adventure with multiple endings. Thoughtful conversation and exploration. Not brute force. I hope that means that I can't brute force it.
Hey, you're alive. When I dragged you out of the river, I thought you were never gonna wake up. I checked your pockets for ID, a phone, maybe. I hope you don't mind. But all I found was some loose change. So, wanna tell me who you are?
Body type. Oh, nice. That's cool.
Well, it's nice to meet you. And I'm sorry to pry, but any idea why you were floating down the river? What's the last thing you remember?
Searching for ancient ruins on a covert mission. Oh, interesting. Studying history give you occasional insights into the ancient world. You have a firearm, but only 10 bullets. You'll have to use them judiciously because there's no way to get more. Time on the run has made you quick on your feet. 25% faster when sprinting. Your head trauma has increased your pain threshold, making you 50% harder to take down. So this is always interesting when you play a game like this. Like, I'm sure it's drawing a certain crowd, and I'm guessing that certain crowd would trend toward ancient ruins, and that's kind of what I want to pick. Let's go with barely remember anything. I don't know if that's actually gonna save me for anything.
It does look like you took a pretty hard blow to the head. You're just lucky you've been given a second chance. Which is why I feel terrible for what I'm about to say, but I have a favor to ask. There are some ruins just behind you. Roman, I think. I need you to go in there and see if you can find a guy named Al for me. He went in there a few hours ago, and he hasn't come out. I've been freaking out, wondering if he's trapped, or injured, or worse. I would have gone in after him, but he made me promise to stay here, no matter what. There's no way I'm leaving without him, so I'm just kind of stuck here, waiting. What I mean is, I was hoping you wouldn't mind going in there to find him? If you can do that, I can get both of you back to civilization in my boat. Please?
Mind if I ask some questions?
Oh, of course. Sorry, I don't mean to be pushy. I just... What do you want to know?
Who is Al? What's your story?
Oh, there's not much to tell. Feels like I've spent my whole life in a dead-end job with an endless commute. Know what I mean?
You gonna tell me your name?
Oh, I'd rather not say if it's all the same to you.
Why don't you want to tell me?
All right, fine. Sorry if I sounded cagey, it's just that I don't always get the best reactions when I introduce myself. My name's Karen.
All those Karen memes really ruined that name, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
It's kind of a dickish thing to say. I should have just picked the thanks for saving my life.
Like finding Al? He's the guy who washed up on the riverbank not long before you did. I thought maybe you two knew each other. I guess not. But maybe the two of you can piece together what you're doing here. In any case, you'll like him, I'm sure. Once you find him, then...
It's always weird seeing stuff like that penetrate into modern games, like how the pandemic get referenced repeatedly in Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. Where are we?
You really don't remember? We're in Italy. This river is the Tiber.
What can you tell me about the ruins?
Not much, really. But imagine what you might find in there. Priceless ancient artifacts.
Try calling for help.
An idiot? You could hike a long, long way in any direction and never find another soul. Trust me. Great. So you're ready to go look for Al?
Sure.
Thank you. The entrance is just past those columns behind you. Please, hurry. Oh, and he left this here. But I think you'll need it more than I will.
Heavy-duty battery-powered flashlight. Quid pro quo. Huh. I'm getting some hitching when I look left and right. Making sure there's not like a VSync setting or something. It's already off. Of course it is. Yeah, let's turn off motion blur. Enter the ruins. Or if the game was in development long enough that that happened before they could actually change it. Because she doesn't actually say it in her voice lines. She just says, haha, yeah, something like that. Right? It's only in the printed text. They're like, shit, we can't change the name of our characters. That's what everyone's gonna think about. We gotta, like, hang a lampshade on it. Backpack full of worn hiking clothes and empty food packets. Nothing valuable. It seems strange that Al left it behind.
If you're reading this, it means I've discovered the entrance to an ancient Roman city, hidden deep underground. Its existence.
Whoa, shit. That was cool. Shit, Al, I wanted to hear your thing. The game threw me off.
Forgotten. All knowledge of it lost. Except...
Hold on, I gotta comment on that. So, the game started doing it as an audio log, and I'm like, I shouldn't trust the audio log. I should pause and read the text. And then I caught myself, and I was like, wait, no. They clearly made it an audio log because they want you to continue exploring. Continue exploring.
In the Latin inscription here.
But now it is playing all of it, so it's fine.
You who wish to enter the city, step forth and be judged. The virtuous shall be rewarded with
Quest tracking. Sorry, I was trying to turn on my flashlight
eternal
there.
life in paradise. The wicked shall find themselves showered in gold.
Oh,
but
screenshots.
for this
Don't
shall
want
be their
that.
final resting place. Could an underground city have remained a secret for all this time? Could people have survived down there against the odds? It seems there's only one way to find out.
That's a cool concept.
If I'm not back in an hour, I'm somewhere on the other side. Consider this an invitation or a warning. Al Worth.
Spooky. I know very little Latin, so... Oh shoot, I'm sorry. The kill acoustic bridge over here. The guy can stop drawing pictures of Mike Trout. The art assets are really pretty. Godlike figure turning a man into gold. Roman gladiator mid-stride. Could have made a gladiator flee. Oh, cool. Begging for her life. It said battery-powered flashlight, and I assume by that they just mean that it's like wireless. Not that it's actually going to run out. So I don't have any like on-screen indicators for that. That's fine, or the maintenance channel if you would. Whoa. 5 to quick save. That's kind of ominous tip. I mean, they want me to quick save and quick load. I always get nervous when it's not clear if a game wants me to save scum or not. This is a really cool setup so far, though. I like this kind of mystery exploration game. For help that never came. Scribestone tablets.
Whoever reads this, I'm sorry you had to find me like this. And worse.
Oh, geez.
You'll suffer the same fate I did. I've spent a lifetime in this place. Going around and around in circles.
Oh, does time flow differently down here or something?
The inscription was right. There is no way back. In here, there are only two options. Death, or that godforsaken doorway into the past. I made the mistake of stepping through it. I wanted to set things right. And I tried. I really tried. Whatever I did, it took me right back to the beginning. Don't make the same mistake.
Well, I didn't think that was an insinuation. I thought that was like text.
Portal.
Begging the gods for mercy. Cool. Bones. Man, it's like the Bill and Ted time travel animation. Cool. Oh. Great circular portal and 2 women. Figure out how to return to your original time. I do like opening with
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing?
the whole owl thing so that you have a little bit of dread while you're here, right? Speaking English? No, I can just understand Latin now, right?
What? I'm speaking Latin. You are too, although your accent's a little strange. Oh, I see what you did there. Changing the subject like that. Nice try. But I'll ask again. Who are you, and what were you doing in the shrine?
I'm from the future.
No idea what you're talking about. Oh, wait. Are you a bit, not right in the head? That's all right, friend. Everyone's welcome here.
Thanks, I guess?
We sort of lose track of the date down here, but it feels like the beginning of spring to me, so I'd say early March?
What year?
It's 817 AUC. Sorry, you look confused. 817 years since the founding of Rome. Which part of the empire are you from, exactly?
Is this before or after Christ? Who?
Hey, not so loud. Just saying that name could land you in trouble here. If you haven't heard, his cultists burned down half of Rome last year. Horrible business. I heard some of them, but a lot of people are still angry with them, even down here. So, if you're one of them, keep it to yourself. But listen, most folks seem a bit confused when they get here, but you seem very lost, and in more ways than one. So, let me make this nice and simple for you. Live by our law here, and we'll all get along just fine.
Okay.
Not laws, law. There's just one, the golden rule, and the punishment for breaking it's kind of horrific. But our magistrate insists we take all newcomers to see him, so I guess I'll let him fill you in. So then, you coming?
Sure.
Follow me. When I first arrived, I couldn't believe there were people living down here. But, as you can see, we've got a nice little community now.
Are they serious? I'll just follow him.
Only 23 of us at the moment, if you count the 3 who are missing. No idea how, since nobody knows a way out. But it's just big and dark enough to get lost in, if you're not careful.
Just think about the way he walks is weirdly familiar.
Introduce me to your handsome new friend, Galerius.
Keep it in your loincloth, Aurelia. I'm taking him to see the magistrate.
That pompous old boar won't be magistrate for much longer. Anyone who helps vote him out today drinks at my bar for free tonight.
You have the same name as my jellyfish. Talk to her later.
Politics.
No, if I press A, it... Oh, now it works. Okay. Before it wasn't working.
It's not my place to say. Down on your right is our farm, where I grow all the food you'll ever want. As long as all you want is leek, cabbage, and wheat. That one usually gets a chuckle.
The bloodless shadows wander without flesh or bone.
It's a normal thing to say.
Don't mind Livia. She means well. She's just been in a bad place since... Well, I don't know what happened to her. Up here on your right is the chasm. If you've got a weapon, it belongs way down at the bottom. Up on your left is the forum, where you can visit the market or get yourself patched up in Lucrecia's clinic in the Shrine of Apollo. Most of us have almost nothing, just what we had on us when we arrived.
Cool.
What we've been able to make and scrounge up since.
What do you mean by sound historical? Like, wouldn't you want them if I natively understand them? Should they just sound like they're conversing normally?
Don't expect a warm welcome.
Hilarious. You're meant to be working the farm, not trudging dirt into the villas.
Take it easy, Horatius. I was just taking our new friend here to see the magistrate.
Well, he's asked me to escort the newcomer personally. The farm. Go. Now.
You'd better go with him. But just remember, they're not like you and me. Don't let them use you.
It's a weird thing to say.
What did you just say?
I said it'll take some getting used to.
Yeah, I'm watching you, farm boy. Greetings, citizen. My name's Horatius. Magistrate Sentius asked me to escort you to him personally. Follow me, please.
Yeah, I hate when stuff does that. Or, if we're meant to understand that they're actually speaking in a different language, but it's been localized into English or whatever for our benefit. Like, it's the worst if they have like people who are nominally supposed to be speaking German who have German accents in English. Let's just stop.
Follow me. The only thing you really need to understand right now is the Golden Rule. Let me see if I can explain it this way.
Don't fuck with
I was
Arya?
serving in the Legion. If there was a mutiny brewing in one cohort, the legate in charge wouldn't waste time finding the bad apples among hundreds. They just divided us into groups of 10, made us draw straws, and whoever drew the short straw had to be executed by the other 9. Didn't matter whether he'd done anything wrong. One of us in 10 would die for the crimes of the collective. We call it
This
decimation.
place has become
Makes
a
sense.
Seems like
thoroughfare.
rough justice to you. You're in for a rude shock. Because the Golden Rule is exactly 10 times worse. The magistrate can explain the rest. Who's up these stairs?
So do I get centimated or do I get unitimated?
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want?
What's your
I'm
story?
Sentia, eldest daughter of the magistrate. But you'd know that if you'd been invited in here and introduced properly. What are you doing in here? And why are you dressed like that?
Charming.
Really? I'd never have noticed, what with your flawless accent, appropriate attire, and impressive mastery of our customs. Now, remind me, why are we having this conversation? I trust you can see yourself out.
But I think that stuff ought to be, unless if it's like attempting to go for a hardline historical approach to storytelling, in which case it should just be in Latin, right? Like, make it so it's understandable to the person that you're localizing it for, right?
Leave before I call Horatius.
You don't want to just, like, directly adapt it as much as possible. Like, the best middle ground for me is something like the HBO Chernobyl series.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name?
Yo.
A curious name to match a curious accent. But I digress. Now, you're probably wondering why I summoned you, and I'll get to that. But first, take a look at this wondrous place, would you? A secret city built deep in the mountains, many hundreds of years ago. Indeed. More importantly, consider the miraculous community we've built here over the last 7 months. 22 complete strangers brought together by the fates, living and working together in our own little paradise. And in all that time, not a single sin has been committed. No fights, no theft, nothing.
It's gonna be like,
Have
Omelas.
you ever witnessed something so extraordinary as a city without sin?
Can't say I have.
Nor could I until I came here.
Because if you
But the
die in the
reason for
past, you
this-
end up as a
this
statue in the future.
Miracle is as simple as it is terrifying. If even one person commits a sin here, every last
Okay, so it's
one
not
of us
Omelas, but
will die. You see, the builders of this place, whoever they were, left inscriptions warning, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." From what we can gather, breaking the law here will anger the gods and provoke a terrible punishment. Like the curses of Medusa and Midas combined, turning us all to gold. We've come to call it the Golden Rule. It's extraordinary that we've survived as long as we have, and each day I grow more and more afraid that our time in the sun is almost up. And now it seems that day is finally here. All that matters is that somebody in this city is about to break the Golden Rule. Why else would Proserpina send you now? Unless you and I can stop them, our doom is assured. I know that's a lot to take in, and you look like you have...
it's gonna be
questions.
me. I'm gonna be the one that does it.
Ask away.
What counts as a sin?
An intelligent question.
We only have one rule.
There
It just
was a
has
good deal of debate
several
about that in
thousand
our first
sub-rules.
weeks here.
Does it refer to crimes or to some other ill-defined wrong? Of course, everyone agrees on the basics. No theft, no assault, and certainly no murder. But beyond that, it was more difficult to reach a consensus. What about lying, insulting someone, blasphemy, trespass, trying to escape, bribery, infidelity, suicide? As magistrate, I had to exercise leadership, and so I made a decision. We must uphold the laws of the Empire to a standard never before seen. And we must honor the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. It is only by offering the gods the proper respect that we may prosper, as Rome has for centuries.
What is legal isn't always moral. Maybe you don't want to pick that second one, but...
Barbaric? Barbaric? What are you talking about? The Empire is the most civilizing force in the known world. Rome is a beacon of light in the darkness. For 800 years she has borne great statesmen, philosophers, poets, artists, and engineers. We have comprehensive laws protecting the rights of our citizens.
We've unified
which have
warring
unified
tribes.
Countless warring tribes all across the Mediterranean and beyond, from Gallia to Judea. All our citizens are treated the same, regardless of the color of their skin or their sexual preference. Can you say the same? When our people are starving, they are given food rations, and when they are wronged, they have the right to bring the guilty party before the magistrate. Our laws forbid treason, murder, assault, and rape, as well as theft and arson, and so on. No other civilization in the world is so advanced, and you have the hubris to call us barbaric?
Did you allow slaves? Blood sports? Women have fewer rights than men? Collective punishment?
Of course. What else would we do with those prisoners of war who would otherwise have been executed? And besides, there are laws for their protection as well. On occasion, but our gladiators are almost all volunteers seeking glory, or condemned prisoners who would have been executed anyway. I do not see the harm. Of course, but with fewer rights come fewer responsibilities, and the right to be protected by their fathers and husbands. You mean the blasphemous cult responsible for burning down half of Rome last year? It's hard to blame the people for being angry about that. Are you talking about our practice of decimation? Of course. We could hardly unite all these warring tribes without a
Like how, the one thing people might not know about when talking to him is decimation, so we'll have the character right beforehand remind you about it. Consider those things to be abhorrent.
Well, right now, you're a long, long way from home. I have made my pronouncement on the subject. Unfortunately, there are still those here who resist, whispering blasphemous and treasonous lies.
So it's kind of fun to figure out what is the sin.
I would be keeping a close eye on them if I were you. You see, in my search for a way to save my people, I learned of an ancient ritual to Proserpina, the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. It's said to open a doorway in time, so that if the unthinkable happens, one person can pass through it and travel back to the past. And when I saw you arrive in a flash of light from the goddess's shrine, I knew that person was you. You don't belong in our time, do you?
2,000 years in the future.
Years? That is unfathomable.
What about that other guy you got here?
In your time, what did you see? What had become of us? Of this city?
You were all panicking gold statues.
I have imagined it, our downfall, 1,000 times. But it still breaks my heart to hear the truth of it.
Still breaks me. How does the ritual work?
All I can tell you is that it's a ritual sacrifice to Proserpina. I stumbled across instructions. I have to recite a prayer, and of course, as with all rituals, some sacrifice is involved. Usually that means wine or food, or in some cases a live animal. In this case, the sacrifice is rather more costly. The life of the person performing the ritual. I don't suppose you saw any sign of me in the future?
Did see human remains.
I assume that was
Oh,
me.
cool. So it's it is Bill and Ted rules.
The ritual that's going to cost me everything. You'll try to make sure I don't need to use it, won't you?
Do my best.
Well, I suppose that's all I can ask for.
And you investigate.
Well, I believe you're in the best position to go around asking people questions. You're new here, and it'll seem perfectly normal. As for me, well, it pains me to say my attempts to impose order have not earned me many friends.
Seems pretty quiet in the equalizer. I'm gonna turn the audio up a little bit. Sorry about that if it's been quiet for a while here.
The people here would only treat my curiosity with suspicion. You shouldn't have that problem, though, unless, of course, you get off on the wrong foot.
The title screen was just quite a bit louder. Yeah, I did that before stream. I went into the audio settings and maxed out voice. But I'll see if I can turn other stuff down, maybe.
Do you ever stare at a problem for so long that you can't see it for what it is anymore? What's needed here is a fresh pair of eyes. The less I prejudice the independence of your investigation, the better.
Tell me what you really think.
Well, all right. There are those who wish to vote me out of office so that they can pursue their own misguided political agenda. Frankly, their selfishness and recklessness risk destabilizing the entire city. I would be looking very carefully at them if I were you.
Okay, I'll keep it. I'll check it as soon as I get out of this menu. I don't speak Latin.
You mean you couldn't speak Latin before you arrived here? How strange. But the gods are active here, and their temples and shrines hum with power like nowhere else in the Empire. Perhaps when Proserpina brought you here, she planted the seed of Latin in your mind so that you could better serve her.
Awesome.
Indeed.
You help me get back to my own time?
If I understand Proserpina's ritual correctly, that problem should take care of itself. Let me see if I can explain. If you manage to prevent the sin that breaks the Golden Rule, I won't need to bring you here. I won't create the portal, and you will never have been able to come.
If it was true Bill and Ted rules...
Thus, you'll have created a paradox. If this occurs, you should be flung back to your own time, having changed the past for all of us. Make sense?
If it was full Bill and Ted rules, we could just, like, resolve that now through conversation. Sure, why not? That's all the questions I had.
Good. So, are you with me? Can I count on you to figure out who's about to break the Golden Rule?
I like that.
Now, I need you to investigate the city, talk to everyone, help them if it'll win their trust. I authorize you to enter private homes and inspect possessions and documents, unless, of course, you're asked to leave. Figure out who the culprit is, and as soon as you have a name, come back and tell me immediately. Oh, and one
This is a cool premise for the game.
I'd start my investigation by visiting Lucrecia.
I like the way they set up
at the Shrine
the
of Apollo
opening part of
in
it,
the
too.
Forum. I heard wailing from there not long ago. Seems like something's not right.
Like, I feel like there's a lot of stories out there that have a cool set of bullet points, but don't necessarily present them in an order that's, like, sensical. Or... turn these all down. Hopefully that's fine. We mostly just want the audio. Oh, shit, did I say no? I sure did. up. Yes, apply them. Okay, almost did it twice. Inventory. Flashlight. Stone tablets. Spook people with my flashlight. Steal? Quit. What is this? Skyrim? Maximus continue to protect and guide you. So weird always. Be elected, I'm sure of it. It's a necessary abstraction of the gameplay. No monster puts yes and no that way around. I know, right? I think they wanted it to just be like, they wanted you to commit immediately. Tap X for a guide toward your objective marker. Okay. Diary. Pages contain my innermost secrets. Cute. Aries. I suppose they presented it in that order. Known to the Romans as Mars. Perfume. Still getting little hitches while I'm turning the camera, but I'll try to just move through it. I don't think it's like super distracting. It's probably a fun kind of thing to make if you're like a Roman history nerd, right? No, just in general, whenever I turn, it's a little itchy.
Ah, you've returned. Do you have any news about your investigation?
Not yet. What's your story?
Sextus Sentius Imperiosus is my name, though magistrate is the proper way to address me. Before I wound up here, I was a decurion in the cavalry of Imperial Rome, helping protect civilization from the barbarians.
What's decurion?
It's a cavalry officer. I had 30 men under my command. This was my uniform.
Why are you still wearing it?
As magistrate, I usually wear a toga, but today I may need to survive long enough to create the portal for you, so it seemed prudent.
Same as Centurion.
My men and I were at the Emporium in Rome as honor guard for a visiting dignitary arriving upriver by barge. Now the port is usually bustling, but just as our guests arrived, waves of people began running toward the river from streets and alleyways in every direction. They were trying to escape a terrible fire. Unfortunately, the crowd sent my horse into a panic, and I remember it losing its footing by the water's edge. The next thing I knew, I was waking up on a riverbank not far from here in the company of some stranger. I went looking for my horse and discovered that lonely temple. You can probably figure out the rest.
But you come to be magistrate.
I was elected 7 months ago, uncontested because of my command experience. Since then, there's been growing agitation for another election. They're supposed to be annual, but I agreed to hold it sooner, hoping it would placate my constituents. Unfortunately, it just seems to have emboldened certain elements instead. Very well.
Questions about my
them.
investigation.
Good. Now, was there something else you wanted to discuss?
No way out of
If
here.
I did, I'd have led these people out of here already.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
I've had plenty of time to think about it. Let me see if I can sum up my thoughts. I've always considered my guiding star to be the well-being of the Roman people. Our survival and prosperity have always hinged upon honoring the peace of the gods, the sacred accord between the gods and the people of Rome. Give the gods what they want and we all prosper. Dishonor them and we all die. It's as simple as that. The real enemy in this place is not the Golden Rule, but human failings. The temptation to slide into degeneracy, greed, and hubris. I trust that answers your question.
Sure.
Thank you. I'll be waiting here for news.
The audio balance better now after adjusting everything else but voice down.
Degenerate mind.
Oh. You guys are both barking at the same time.
A new face. Ave, and may Vesta watch over you. I'm Equitia. To what do I owe the pleasure of this visit?
What's your story?
Oh my. I take it people are quite direct where you're from. I suppose it's quite charming in its own way. Usually, however, you wouldn't simply march up to a Vestal priestess and without due formality or courtesy ask, "What is your story?"
I've never asked somebody that. Sorry, what should I have done?
The proper approach would be to arrange an introduction through a mutual acquaintance in high office, by which time you would already know how to address me. And then you would find a way to satisfy your curiosity rather more indirectly. But to be honest, I've often thought what an unnecessarily formal way to communicate that is. So, let's do it your way. You just keep being yourself and ask whatever you like. It'll be a refreshing change.
How'd you end up here?
No, I'm not entirely sure. But what about you? How did you end up here?
Hey, Joe, man, how you been? Long time no see. A young woman named Karen dragged me out of a river and sent me in
Karen,
here.
you say? And nothing about that name seemed odd to you?
Carries negative connotations where I'm from.
Why is that?
You know what? Let's try it.
The memes? What are the memes?
Well, I mean, that's what people call them now. I guess my character doesn't know that.
So, a bit like Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Literally any unit idea that spreads among people. It's been around since forever. Yes, exactly like that.
So your people make hieroglyphics depicting this accursed character, the one they call Karen. I wonder if... No.
You gonna say?
I apologize. I don't mean to be cryptic. It's just that you've got me thinking. Have you spoken with any of the others about how they arrived here too? I really think you should. Go around and ask them what they remember and see if you notice any patterns.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. But please be careful. I just don't want to see what happened to Livia happen to you too.
What happened to Olivia?
Up until a few weeks ago, she was a perfectly productive member of our little community, darning clothes and cutting hair. She was always so chatty, always seeking out newcomers and asking them where they were from and how they wound up here. And then, about a month ago, she suddenly changed. She withdrew, stopped working and became despondent, started muttering to herself. Galerius and I visited her to see how we could help, but she just looked at us with this haunted stare, called us bloodless shadows, and told us we were ignorant of some pattern. Look, it could be unrelated.
Spooky.
Perhaps she simply fell ill. Or, as Galerius suggested, the weight of the golden rule was too much for her. But there is a small chance that she learned something, saw a pattern nobody else saw, and that it broke her. I just don't want to see that happen to you. So be careful, will you? Thank you. Now, go and follow the thread of truth
I'm
through
in
this
threads.
labyrinth,
Okay.
and come back to me if you discover any patterns.
I'll get right on
to
it.
me once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbors.
I keep praising the order of events here, but I really think that, like, the whole go after Al, and then you find Al as a statue hanging with a little inscription saying that he tried and failed and there's no way you're going to get out of it, like, greatly enhances the feel of this game. So I could see a version of this where you just kind of fall down here and now you're in the past and it's just explore and there's no, like, urgency or stakes to it, right? Faint, salty aroma. Do you like the painted ceramics and stuff? You know that most of the marble statues were, like, garishly colored. Is that Rome, or am I confusing that with something else? Okay. Use that to... slide down. Yeah. Nothing good will come of it. Fletched arrows. The things I'm able to loot are very strange, it seems like. I'm wondering if we're going to end up doing some kind of, like, time loop type thing here, where we get a short amount of time to talk to everybody, then have to start it over. I have a sneak button. Something about this game's engine feels really strange. I can't put my finger on it, though. Hey, thanks for the follow. Welcome. Yeah, I think that it's maybe already happened and now I have to go back in time, right? So we'll see. Always remember they're watching. Alpha set an order with 4 girls here and disappointed all of them equally.
Salve.
It's not everybody.
Ah, a new face. Salve, and welcome to a little community. My name's impossible to pronounce for most people, so you can just call me Vergil. You arrived on a sad day, friend. what with Iulia's death. I wish we could have met under better circumstances.
What's your story?
Well, I'm an architect. Or at least I was back in Rome. That's probably too grandiose a term to describe what I do here. Help out with repairs and try to stop old buildings from collapsing on people, that kind of thing. But you probably don't want to hear about the ingenious architecture or mysterious history of this place.
Tell me about all of those things.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Some of these shrines were constructed hundreds of years ago, which means Romans have been arriving here for at least that long. But there's one thing that puzzles me. The oldest shrine in this avenue isn't Roman at all. It's Greek.
Isn't it common for Romans to copy Greek art and architecture?
Well, yes, that could be the reason. Or it could mean that there were Greeks living and worshipping here before the Romans arrived. Which begs the interesting question, who really built this place? And could it be far older than any of us imagine? If only there was a way we could talk to the people who came here before us. The stories they could tell.
Tell me about the architecture.
Gladly. Personally, my favorite thing about this place is the aqueducts. Those series of adjoining arches. They're an ingenious feat of Roman engineering with a very practical purpose. They take fresh water coming from outside the city and distribute it all across the chasm. It's funneled below the palace and into a cistern beneath the great temple. Some of it flows down into another cistern beneath the villas, and the rest is funneled to the shrine of Proserpina, where it fills the lake, and allows us to fish and farm.
This guy is like the dev insert in-universe nerd. Could tell me all about this cool Roman architecture stuff.
Hey, not so loud. Just talking about that could anger the gods for all we know. I'm not saying it's impossible, but you'd have to find a way inside somehow. Just, please, try to be a bit more discreet about it.
Tell me about the temple.
You mean the Great Temple? This one's a bit of a mystery. Given the way it's positioned so prominently, looking down on us, it's clear that whoever built it felt it was the most important temple in the city. Unfortunately, someone else went out of their way to keep its purpose a mystery. You see, usually a temple is dedicated to a particular god, like Proserpina or Diana or Apollo. Usually, that god is obvious. But in this case, it's unknown. There's an obelisk out the front, which probably used to bear the name of this unknown god. But it appears some barbarian defaced it.
That's not
and
relevant.
Of course we can't get inside because it's locked up tighter than the Temple of Saturn in Rome. And that contains the treasury. So we're all left wondering, which god is that temple dedicated to? And could it be the one responsible for the Golden Rule? Unless somebody figures out a way inside, I suppose we'll never know. Of course. You wouldn't believe how often the new ones ask that question. But I'd tell you the same thing I tell everyone else. There are much worse places to live out your days. You might have a few sleepless nights thinking about the Golden Rule, but once you get used to the fear, knowing that a single slip-up could cost you everything, it's not too bad. Nothing new to me, anyway.
What do you mean?
Oh, I just mean I grew up in the Batavi tribe, far to the north in Novio Magus, and learned to expect a bit of hostility. They weren't nearly as tolerant as the Romans.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
Some people say it's divine, the work of a god, but I'm not so sure. It just seems so flawed to me. Like it's distinctly human. I mean, once you've been here long enough, you'll notice people doing things that just seem so wrong to you. But this so-called god doesn't seem to care, which means one of two things. Either you don't know the difference between right and wrong, or this unknown god doesn't. And I'm pretty sure I know the difference. Do you?
The third answer, but
Good. Then I hope you'll agree that there are only two ways of dealing with unfair rulers. The first is to leave.
shifty eyes.
The second is to remove the ruler from power. And it seems leaving may not be an option.
Remove a god.
Good question. It's best if I say no more, but I hope you'll give it some thought.
This game's a stealth JRPG. Notice the graffiti. What does it mean?
Oh, it means someone thinks I'm a sinner, and that I'm going to break the golden rule. Look, I haven't done anything wrong, if that's what you're thinking. Somebody just has a problem with my preference for male company. Hey, nothing gets by you, huh? Sorry, that was mean. Yes, I like men. And when you grow up in the north, as I did, in the city of Noviomagus, you expect a bit of hostility. The Batavi are not known for their tolerance. I saw enough friends killed or driven away to know the cost of not keeping your personal affairs to yourself. So I hid who I was for, what was it, nearly 10 years? Watching what I said and where I looked. But that kind of fear eats away at you slowly, until living isn't any better than the thing you were afraid of. Needless to say, since I'm now living underground, halfway across the known world, with an assumed name, my openness didn't go down well among the enlightened folk of the Batavi.
Sorry to hear that.
Nice of you to say, but not necessary. In any case, the Romans are far more accepting, and among them, I get to be who I am. Or at least, I thought that was the case. It seems I was wrong.
Well, that's unfortunate, Jumpman. Is it the PC version?
It's not just graffiti. I have quite a collection of handwritten notes too. The strange thing is, I keep my personal affairs to myself. I've never really been interested in any of the men here. Not my type. So I'm not sure what I could have done to upset this person. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably one of those cultists. Strange bunch. They insist there's only one god, and that he considers my nature a sin. Can you believe that? If there are any of them
Christians
here,
chatting
they won't
about that?
admit it.
That early?
Not since they supposedly burnt down half of Rome last year and went into hiding. All I know is, if these threats keep escalating, eventually my secret admirer is going to cross a line and break the golden rule. What? Really? I didn't expect that. But thanks. It's always a pleasure to meet someone so selfless. I'm glad you arrived when you did. I'd start by figuring out who the cultists are. Or maybe ask around among the merchants here. Someone who lives or works in the forum must have seen something. But if you find them, please don't hurt or humiliate them. I suspect they're just confused.
Around the time of Nero, I think Christianity is still effectively like an apocalypse cult. Not that it's not that now, but much more on the nose about it. Like, I think, what would Paul say? Like, my advice is don't even get married because the world's going to end before you're going to get to do anything anyway.
Come back and let me know what you find.
Sodom and Gomorrah is not about homosexuality, though. That's a modern Christian misinterpretation of the story. That story is about the reason that things go badly is because of how hostile they are to guests, right? They're so hostile to the guests that they want to abuse them.
It has to be important.
And any references to homosexuality in the Old Testament are... I'm only talking because this is something I happen to know about. I know very little about Roman history, but I know a decent amount about Christianity or Judeo-Christianity. Generally, it was like ritual temple sex was the thing that's discussed in the Old Testament as to, like, distinguish themselves from the pagans. Interesting. By once have escaped. Villa, 2-horse chariot, seat in the Senate, 4-horse chariot, another villa, a 10-horse chariot. Nerva, Roman goddess of strategy. Chest is locked. Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of like how, like, ex post facto, the Garden of Eden has come to be understood as, like, the serpent in that story is the Christian figure Satan, but that's not how it was always considered. This is just the story of why the snake has no legs.
Wonder how much one of these statues is worth on the outside.
Ulpius the thief stole my purse, and whoever wrote this did not get to finish. All this graffiti makes me think of that scene in Life of Brian, which gets repeated in Canadian Bacon, but it's where he's like doing the graffiti on the wall, and John Cleese shows up and makes him write it again, but in proper grammar.
Salve, stranger, and welcome to our idyllic
I think several of the Pythons
I'm Desius.
took Latin in college.
Terrible shame what happened to Iulia, but we just have to carry on, don't we?
What's your story?
You mean how did I end up here? That is a lengthy tale. Alright. Well, you see, I'm in the business of procuring rare and precious objects liberated from the enemies of Rome. Mostly sculptures, vases, the occasional slave, fetch a magnificent price in Roman high society. Had myself a nice little shop in Rome just off the Forum. Lots of foot traffic and close to the docks. Good place to be when the fires broke out. See, about 7 months ago, half of Rome caught on fire. Everyone who couldn't get to an outer gate was running for the river, open to escape by barge. So I gathered my coins and some priceless vases into a cart and had my most loyal slave girl, pretty young thing named Acantha, push it for me. All the way down to the river, I'm elbowing for a stampede of people, turning back now and then to make sure she hasn't legged it with my valuables. But, to my surprise, we make it, and I see this barge loading up, and it's so full it's almost sinking. But the captain's happy to take my coin, so I start boarding, and then he puts his hand on my chest and he says, "No, too heavy. The cart or the girl." So I did what anyone would have done.
This guy really took "What's your story?" seriously. Yeah, right, Aki. Modern religious mythology shaped by thousands of years of warning. This is canon.
Of course I chose the cart. I mean, I can always buy a new slave girl if I still have my money. So I put my hand on the cart, and I guess she realised what was happening because those pretty black eyes of hers go all wide. And in one swift motion, she topples the whole bloody thing into the tyre butt.
See where this is going.
Naturally, I dived in after it, hoping to salvage my fortune. Only, I guess I must have hit my head or something, because everything went black. When I came to, I'd washed up on the riverbank not far from here, with nothing in the world but a single silver coin.
Commiserations.
Thank you, friend. But it turns out it might have been a stroke of good fortune, because this place is a veritable treasure trove. Look around you, there must be more gold in here than in the treasury of Rome. If I can just figure out how to get it out of here.
No way out of here.
I'm afraid not. If you're desperate, I did hear that Aurelia down at the tavern claims to know of a way out, but I'm not sure I trust her. Some people here are a little shady for my liking.
Really? I hadn't noticed.
Oh yeah, gotta watch out. Old Desius has got your back though.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
It's terrible for inflation is what it is. There's so much gold just lying around, it's practically worthless. At least down here. Of course, I have an idea for generating real wealth, but what I need is a bow. Just a simple composite bow. I've scoured this city from top to bottom with no luck. But if you happen to find one, bring it to me and we'll talk.
Magistrate banned weapons?
Oh, well, technically yes, but that just means you'll need to be a little discreet. Thank you, friend.
Threatening Vergil.
I don't, I'm afraid. But I did overhear Fabia telling Georgius she saw something. She was headed to the baths not long ago.
Who are you going to vote for?
Malleolus. I mean, Sentius couldn't even keep his daughter safe. What hope does he have of protecting us?
Vote for Sentius?
Not going to happen. Very well. Another time.
Bye. Want me to interact with the Statue people? Does want me to go in there. At least it looks like it does. Oh no, it's going here, okay. Hey Fabia, what's up?
Help! You have to do something! A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort.
He looks similar to Karen, but without a hoodie.
And he's got a weapon. You have to do something, or he's gonna break the golden rule.
Quest drums are... Any idea who's threatening Vergil?
Are you serious? This is an emergency. Are you going to help or not?
Get right on it.
Thank you. He's still in there, somewhere. I have to hide. Find me in this empty shrine when it's over.
Yeah.
Hear what? What? We don't have time for this. I have to go. Ugh. The shrine is collapsing.
Well, that sucks. The shrine may collapse at any moment. No kidding.
Fabia, no! Oh God, she's dead. Did anyone see that? The whole shrine just collapsed on her. Oh Fabia, why did you have to go in there? Poor sweet girl.
Bummer. Good luck, Jimin. I got bad RAM recently. It was really frustrating.
Fabia, I mean. She walked into that empty shrine, and the next moment she is lying dead under a pile of rubble. The gods are cruel and unjust. She was like a daughter to me. I'm sorry, friend. It's not right for me to lay my burden upon you. I can't believe she is dead. The gods are...
Later, dude. The Greek resident knows more about her. Whoa. Oh, the crouch matters. Okay. It's a liar. This is decently well lit. I used to suffer for the sins of the one. Archaeologist.
Come and join me by the fire.
You're not weirded out that I found my way down here?
Welcome, welcome. May I ask your name?
Yo.
It's a sincere pleasure to meet you. Tell me, what brings you all the way down here?
Found this place by
Then
accident.
perhaps the fates brought you here to learn the secrets of this place. I will tell you everything I know, but first, a request. I have been living down here alone for many years, with nobody to talk to but myself. The one thing I long for above all else before I die.
His name is Mistricus
is a good
Clinicus.
philosophical argument with somebody astute. I'm hoping that person is you. Let us find out with this simple question. Have you deduced the name of the god responsible for the Golden Rule?
I think I'm supposed to get here way later. Not yet.
You have much to learn. It's best if you figure it out on your own. Come back once you've made progress.
Fair enough. Is that an exit shortcut? Might be. See if there's anything else in here before I leave.
Ah, you've returned.
Bye. Bathtub has been converted into an eccentric bed. Sure, there's nothing important in there.
Ah, you've returned.
Bye. Alright. Come back to the guy in the secret hidden temple cave. The main character has really expressive arms when he jumps. Yeah, thank you.
Stop right there. I'm looking for Tiberius Quinctius Crispus, otherwise known as Quinctius. Do you know where he is? I'm not sure I believe that, so allow me to explain something to you.
Is that a composite bow you got there, buddy?
I am here with orders from Emperor Nero himself to find and execute the cultist Quinctius for terrible crimes against the Empire. So, if you tell me the truth, I will allow you to live. But if you lie to me or otherwise obstruct the Emperor's business in any way, I will put this arrow through your chest. Is that understood?
Got it.
Thank you. Now tell me, who are you people, and what is this place?
It's a small community of strangers who wound up here by accident.
I was told Quinctius was a cultist, but I never thought he'd be foolish enough to lead me right to the heart of his mystery cult.
What's a mystery cult?
Oh, don't play coy with me. I don't care if you're worshipping Bacchus, Magna Mater, or Christ. You lot are all the same to me. Always sneaking off to your secret sanctuaries, indoctrinating each other with your little mantras. The Emperor may have tolerated your activities up until now, but after what Quinctius did, those days are numbered. You say that, but if you're not a cult, then why go to such great lengths to keep this place a secret?
Didn't. Trapped here.
So you admit you're not allowed to leave?
You physically can't leave. There's no way out.
Threatening me is not going to help you. But in any case, that sounds an awful lot like a cult to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
I saw the inscription saying, "The many shall suffer for the sins of the one." I take it this is some kind of mantra you all believe?
No.
A distinction without a difference.
Yeah, good point.
You've clearly been indoctrinated into this nonsense. Now tell me, where did you lot get enough gold to make all these statues?
Yeah.
You lot are practicing human sacrifice too.
That's where the Jesus fish comes from.
Me.
Distorting what I said.
Yes, because I'm the real villain here. It's all clear to me now. The secret sanctuary, the indoctrination, the mantra, the human sacrifice. You're cultists. There's no doubt in my mind. What baffles me is how a person can believe in something with such zeal. They just can't see what they've become. However, you still have a chance to redeem yourself by telling me where Quintius is. Do not waste it. Very well.
You tell me
Here's what
about
I
him.
know. He's a 40 to 50-year-old man with distinctive eyes,
Heterochromia.
one green and one blue. He's also known to have delusions of grandeur. The Emperor says he and his cult, your cult, are responsible for starting the fire which burnt half of Rome to the ground and killed thousands in the process.
How do you know he set fire to Rome?
All I know, all I care about, is that the Emperor believes he is guilty and wants him dead. The details are not my concern. This is your last chance. Are you going to tell me where he is or not?
Idea who or where he is.
Then you're of no use to me. Do you have any last words?
Jesus Christ, you're an idiot. He's gonna be like, a true cultist wouldn't take the name in vain, but because he just said I didn't care what kind of cultist I am.
Aha, I knew it. Now it's my turn to tell you something. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every last one of you wretched degenerates. And I can think of nothing I'd enjoy more.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
It's cool. Male voice. Follow Sentius to the shrine and use his portal again. That's cool. So I think it is going to be a time loop then. Yeah, I'd like to. Can I zipline on this thing? Nope. Still falling damage. From last save. Oh god, I hope it's been auto-saving this whole time. I think it has been. Okay. That's not too bad. Sup?
Stop, right? So is that... No. Oh, the... Yeah. Do you have any last words?
I'll try different last words here. Do you?
As a matter of fact, I do. Once I'm done with you and Quintius, I intend to kill every... and I can think...
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
I wonder if they brought all the other voice volume in the game down just so they could make that as loud as possible, right? Like the sovereign lines in Mass Effect 1. I really enjoyed that. Through last words? What's up? Thanks, Sentius. You gotta turn to bones real fast. Looper. That's fun. It seemed like that's where they were going with it earlier, with all the, like, events of people dying and stuff.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me who you are and what you were doing in the Shrine of Proserpina?
We've had this conversation before.
I don't think so. I've never seen you before in my life.
Cool.
Oh, Bacchus, how much did I drink last night? Sorry to have bothered you. Oh,
I have to
since
go.
You seem to be in a hurry. You should try out this device I made. Worked real hard on it.
I was saying during Outer Wilds, like, it feels like... Oh, hey, zipline! Thanks, man. That's convenient.
Just attach the pulley to the rope over the lake and hang on to the handles. If it works, it'll be faster than walking. And if it doesn't work, worst thing that can happen is you'll take a swim in the lake. I haven't quite summoned the courage to test it myself. But don't worry, it's completely safe. Probably. Alright, see you around.
I was saying during Outer Wilds that, like, basically every video game has built into it, whether it's handled diegetically or not, a Groundhog Day mechanic, in the sense that you can save and load your game, and precious few games actually make that a core part of the storytelling. I don't think every game has to. Like, it gets kind of crazy if every game was a Groundhog Day time loop thing, but there's a lot of cool stories and cool formats you can do with it, I think. I feel like the big hitch is you got to get over the awkwardness of everyone else in the time loop isn't aware of the time loop, which Outer Wilds sidesteps by not really having that many NPCs you can talk to and having the information you get from them be something that's just recorded forever. Yeah. Just think of that later, maybe? Yeah, I mentioned Undertale when playing Outer Wilds.
Keep an eye out for Sentilla, would you? What is it, citizen?
What's your story?
I'm a legionary of the 1st Italica, but there's not a lot of fighting down here. So the magistrate has assigned me other duties. I act as the magistrate's right-hand man, keeping an eye on his daughter, I should say, and the others, and making sure they're all behaving. I also keep a register of new arrivals.
Did you end up here?
I'm from Liguria, up north originally. I was doing alright for myself. 12 years into my service. Had a nice girl lined up for when it was all over. Not anymore. She's probably figured I'm long gone and moved on by now. I try not to think about it. My commander sent me to deliver a message to Rome. While I was there, I thought I'd do something nice for my girl and pick up a little pendant from a silversmith. That's when the crowd started flooding through the streets, shouting fire. People were screaming, trampling each other. Then some Genetricum fugitor tried to take advantage of the chaos and pinch my pendant. I remember chasing him through the crowds, down towards the river. And then, nothing. Blacked out and woke up near here. No idea how I ended up floating so far downriver. But I'm fortunate to be alive, I suppose.
Sorry to hear that.
Don't be. As Seneca the Younger said, difficulty strengthens the mind, as labor does the body. That said, Sentilla's disappearance has been more difficult than I'd care to admit.
What can you tell me about the magistrate?
He's one of the better commanders I've ever had, that's for sure. Good stoic. Lives by Seneca's words. Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you. Can't ask for much more than that.
No way out of here.
I went around asking the same questions when I first arrived. Never did find a way out. But I learned how to accept my situation. To bear trials with a calm mind robs misfortune of its strength and burden. That's from Seneca the Younger.
I think Horatius likes Seneca the Younger. It's hard to say though.
I don't see why not. Just make sure I get it back by tomorrow.
Yep, no problem with that. Alphabetical order. Claims no way out. Prison in the warehouse. Disappeared. About to ask if they went for a Deadly Premonition style, have a character from every letter of the alphabet, but that's not right. Sure, I'll give it back to you tomorrow.
I'm not sure why you said it like that, but whatever.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
Well, as I always say, it's kind of like a divine version of the practice of decimation in the Legion. By threatening to execute 1 in 10 men, the idea is to ensure order and discipline among everyone. And it works. If you knew you could be executed because your brother-in-arms is planning a mutiny, well, you'd bloody well watch him like hundred-eyed Argus, wouldn't you? Because your only chance of saving yourself is to stop bad things before they happen. Makes us all responsible for keeping each other in check. It's brutal, of course, but effective. The Legion wouldn't be the most formidable force in the world without it.
I don't think so. That's a war crime.
War crime? Isn't that a contradiction in terms? As Cicero said, in times of war the law falls silent.
Worlds are very different.
Seems that way. War crimes. Ridiculous.
Saying you're in favor of it?
What's done is done. I was forced to execute my brothers in arms, and those memories will always visit me in my sleep. But life is harsh, and I've come to accept my lot. As with the Golden Rule, I don't have any control over it, so railing against it would be like trying to stop the seasons or the tides. As Seneca the Younger wrote, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient. For he that is so wants nothing. If you like.
Who are you going to vote for?
Not that it's any of your business, but my loyalty is and always will be with Sentius. Unfortunately, I don't think my vote is going to make any difference today. See, Domitius has been going around town, shoring up votes for Malleolus with lies, bribery and intimidation. The man's a savage, but he's a gladiator, so people fear and respect him more than they should. Sentius knows about it, of course, but he doesn't have the same rat cunning as Malleolus. This place will be different with that sleaze at the helm. But
should the name like Malleolus.
I try not to worry about things I can't change.
Can I help?
I appreciate the thought, but you're new here, and I just can't see how you could make an impact in the time between now and the election this afternoon.
You'd be surprised.
In any case, if you're interested in the election, go and have a chat with Equitia, the Vestal Priestess. She'll be overseeing proceedings. All right?
Thanks. So what all gets conserved between loops? My whole inventory, that's nice.
Hey Horatius, how's it feel knowing your man's doomed to lose the election today?
If you're trying to goad me into an argument, it won't work. I'm a stoic, remember?
If the old
He's
man
super
couldn't
fucking
keep his
stoic.
own daughter safe, how can anyone trust him to keep us safe, eh?
Why do I get the feeling you lot had something to do with Sentilla's disappearance?
That's it. Blame everyone but yourself.
If I find out you did something to that poor sweet girl, not even the Golden Rule is gonna protect you. Got it?
All this is missing is this guy's dialogue getting interrupted by barks when I walk up next to him. Greetings, citizen.
Malleolus isn't receiving visitors at the moment, it being election day.
I was about to start push-ups, but...
The name's Domitius. You want to get to Malleolus, you go through me.
It's gonna be rough wearing that helmet all the time. Are you dressed like a gladiator?
Why? Because I am a gladiator. That's why.
We're near an arena.
You want to see me fight? Keep running your mouth, fatuous cunners. Too bad. He's busy. Unless... No. You don't look like you could afford it.
They just opted to not localize the curses. That's funny.
I'm glad you asked. See, he's a busy man, and this is an important day. He'll be inside practicing his victory speech for tonight. Left me strict instructions he doesn't want to be disturbed. So if you want to see him, I'll need something valuable in return.
What do you want?
Dunno. Something good. Just make it good.
Planting all Latin except the swears.
Yeah? What have you got for me? Bribe? That's such an ugly word. What I'm looking for is more of a tribute to me, your soon-to-be patron. Just make it good.
Expecting that the sin would be something, like, really interesting. I don't think it's just murder.
When Malleolus wins the election, yeah, this place will change. You won't even want to leave. You'll see.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
I think it's gone on long enough, and Malleolus is going to put an end to it once he's elected.
How's he going to do that?
He's going to announce it in his victory speech. Just you wait and see.
Why can't you tell me now?
Because if I tell you, and it gets out, it'll give old man Sentius a chance to interfere in our plans. And we can't have that.
Can I help in some way?
We've already lined up the votes he needs to win. Just stay out of our way, and we won't have a problem.
Who are you going to vote for?
Malleolus,
I wonder...
of course. If old man Sentius can't even protect his own daughter, how can we trust him to protect us?
What do you know about Sentilla's disappearance?
Listen, I don't abduct women. They come to me. And they keep coming back, if you know what I mean.
Subtle. I think you're hiding something.
You don't know Sturkus.
Shit.
Whatever. Just remember, I'll be watching.
Sentius and Malleolus. Same excrement, different smell. Okay, here, I guess they translated it as excrement. Cute.
The murder.
Oh, another one fresh out of the baths, I take it.
It's me.
We're finally alone. I assume you already know who I am. May I know your name?
Had this conversation before. Cool. So he's my Emily Blunt.
We have? Wait, if I understand correctly, someone is about to break the Golden Rule, forcing me to create a portal in time to bring you here? I must have entrusted you with figuring out who the culprit is. Only, I assume we failed. And
Well, good on you for
had
saying
to
we
start
failed.
over.
Not that I
Is
failed.
that about right? If so, what happened?
Couldn't stop it from being broken.
Ah, I see. Look, it's unfortunate, but all that matters now is that you make use of what you've learned and gathered and do better next
I like how they
time.
set up that he would understand in
assume you
advance
sought me out
by
again
forcing
for
me
a
to have that
reason.
conversation with him before. That was cool.
Of course. What is it?
I know who it is.
Yes?
The assassin arrived in the city this morning.
What? An assassin? What are you talking about?
Sent by Nero to assassinate someone in the city named Sentius.
Then what are you doing here talking to me? Why aren't you out there trying to stop him? You'd best go. Quickly. As magistrate, I hereby declare him an enemy of Rome and authorize his execution by your hand. Forthwith.
How would I execute him?
Any way you can. Despite my weapons ban, it's been my experience one can always find a weapon if one looks hard enough.
Won't that break the golden rule?
I don't believe so, no. It's not a crime to carry
I feel like
out
the assassin
lawful
is the
order of
obvious red herring that you do first, and then you're like, oh, I guess it wasn't that. Do you need to give him a trial first?
So now you're an expert on Roman law, are you? Listen to me. We are cut off from the Empire down here, fending for ourselves on the brink of annihilation. If ever
Looks like
there
this
was
one's a little
time
bit more
to dispense
dependent
with
on
legal
event
procedure,
flags.
It would be now.
But we'll see.
Think of it as an act of preemptive self-defense. Think of the lives you'll be saving. Then perhaps you would prefer the feeling of being responsible for the deaths of everyone in this city. Now is not the time for cowardice in the guise of philosophical introspection. Now is the time for action. You have your order. Carry it out. Thank you. Please act quickly before it's too late.
And then it's gonna be me that did it. And we're gonna be like, oh no.
Oh, another one fresh out of the baths, I take it.
So,
Ugh, I wish Horatius would stop letting barbarians in here. What do you want?
no way out of here.
Ugh, what is it with you people? You heard the rumor that my little sister escaped and figure I must know a way out too. Is that it? Well, that's just a stupid rumor. We have no idea what happened to Sentilla. I
Your
wish
little
you
sister,
mouth-breathers would
actually Karen.
leave me alone. I don't know. Can you? Can you tell me how a person could have disappeared from a city with no exits and no crime? Was she snatched away by the harpies?
When did you last see her?
It was 3 weeks ago.
Well, there's a lot of
We
questions
ate
that are
our
like,
evening
tell me
meal
about
together, and
Roman context that I
remember
don't
she
have.
seemed
Why are your names so
happy.
similar?
In love. We went into our rooms, I went to sleep, and when I woke up, she was gone. That's it.
You were seeing someone?
I think so, yes. But she was very careful about keeping his identity a secret, even from me.
Why is that?
Because our father had plans to marry her off, eventually, and even a rumor about her attachment to some mystery man might have ruined those plans.
Father didn't mention any of this when I spoke to him.
That doesn't surprise me. To him, it was like a prize cow wandering off from its paddock. He's upset, of course, but he says he's too busy with the election to help look for her, so he's letting Horatius do the heavy lifting. Some good that's done.
Possible her leper was involved?
I don't know, but it's been 3 weeks since she disappeared, and he hasn't come forward. That might speak to a guilty conscience. All I know is, whoever he is, he's still here in the city.
Julie maintaining that hand behind her head. Why are your names so similar?
You really aren't from here, are you? All Roman women are named after their fathers. I think it's their way of branding us, like cattle to be sold at market. His family name is Sentius, So I'm Sentia because I'm the eldest, and my little sister is formerly Sentia Minor, but she is affectionately known as Sentilla.
You look relaxed.
Why? Because I'm on this couch and not pacing about the villa wasting energy. I hope you're not insinuating I'm somehow pleased with her disappearance.
You know something you're not telling me.
Ugh, you're awful. Get out of my villa and never speak to me again. Do I need to ask Horatius to escort you out of here? Get out, you horrid barbarian!
Alright. Warning, do not enter the cistern.
Hey! You're not thinking about going into the cistern, are you?
Sure am, buddy.
Nobody's told you about Hannibal? Ugh, why do I have to do everything round here? So, there was this guy called Hannibal, right? Funny accent. Used to go down into the cisterns looking for junk he could clean up and sell. One day,
Funny accent,
a few
you
weeks
say.
back, he comes out and tells me the cisterns are haunted. Said he could hear spirits wailing. Of course, nobody believed him, because who trusts a Carthaginian, right? Anyway, a few days later, he goes back in. And hours go by, and he hasn't come back out, yeah? So I go down after him, and it's dark. But in the distance, I can just make out his body.
It's pretty cool. Could see there being some neat stuff down there. Maybe like stuff left behind by other.
Made my blood run cold. No word of a lie. I saw a creature. Like the corpse of a man who'd been flayed. And it was eating Hannibal.
That's cool. Wouldn't that have broken the golden rule?
If it was a man, maybe. But I swear on my life this was no man. More like a Strix. Or some Versipelus that feeds on human flesh. I didn't stick around to see which.
What did you do?
Well, any sane person would have done.
Let's see. That sounds implausible. Like, we need to stretch our definition of implausible. You're in the middle of a time loop, bud.
Without a weapon? Well, it's your funeral.
Give it a try. Oh. Free statue. It's kind of cool. You just kick it into the water. Who's talking to me? Can I kick you into the water? Will that work? Oh no, he could path. Buddy, I'm trying. Independence. Mentioned the pendant earlier, right?
Kill me.
I'd like to, buddy. I don't have a weapon, though. quiver, coin pouch. Spattered in gold, crushed to death while entering the cistern from the cave beyond. Interesting. A quiver but no bow. Fortunately, you cannot die from kicks alone. It'd be funny if he follows me all the way out. I don't think he will because of the loading zone. It was fine.
What now? Whatever.
What do we pick up? Do I get money every single loop? That's kind of funny if so. Lunar pendants. Need democracy in action. Sentilla. Need to reread some of these. Neutralize the armored man. Who's threatening Vergil? Upper cistern. Need a bow. Common threads. Alright, so there's basically different paths it looks like I can try. Create a time paradox. Main quest. I thought another character mentioned the pendant in passing earlier, but guess it wasn't important enough to get a journal entry.
Keep an eye out for
Great
Sentilla,
temple
would you?
majestic? A new face, Ave, and
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
I'm quite sure it's the work of the gods, which is strange because they've never been particularly concerned with our misdeeds, as long as we've kept the peace of the gods. We asked for blessings, for good health, bountiful harvest, military victory, and in return, we offer praise, wine, incense, or animals. But here, it seems they require much more of us. I find myself reminded of an especially pertinent tale from our great poet Ovid in his epic Metamorphoses. Would you like to hear it? It is rather long.
Sure.
Wonderful. It goes like this. Baucis and Philemon were an old married couple living a humble life in a small town. One night, the town gets a visit from a couple of vagrants. They go from door to door.
The last loop, she's like, people don't just go up and talk to me. Now she's like, I'm going to tell you all this shit.
They're turned away sharply from house after house, 1,000 in all, until finally they come to the little cottage where Baucis and Philemon lived. Now the kind old couple had very little to offer, but nevertheless, they invite these strangers into their house and offer them food, wine, and a place to stay. Immediately the guests make themselves at home. They begin gulping down the old couple's wine, so much so that Baucis, the old lady, begins to worry they're going to run out. And then she notices something strange. Her wine pitcher keeps refilling itself, as if by magic, realizing only a select few possess such powers. Says to her husband, Philemon, I think these men are gods in disguise. Immediately the couple begins apologizing for offering such coarse wine, and the vagrants metamorphosize and reveal themselves to be Jupiter, the king of the gods, and Mercury, the trickster god. They confide they didn't mind the meager offerings. They were just pleased that someone in the town offered them hospitality. Then Jupiter says to them, "You have passed our test."
Jupiter says, "Well, you know what happens when I pretend to be a person."
And everyone in it, except you, who we will grant a wish. So old Baucis and Philemon escape up into the mountains safely, and they receive their wish, which is for eternity together. Meanwhile, Jupiter carries through with his threat and wipes that city off the map. Some say the moral of that story is that we must all honor
Speaking of Sodom and Gomorrah, Leon,
friendship, the reciprocal obligations owed between
possibly a shared origin for that.
But I like to think it's that we should always show compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves.
Or perhaps it's that the gods might kill you at any moment for failing their test. They don't even have to tell you what the rules are.
Hermit Philosopher might take that view, but it's not entirely invalid, I suppose.
Ask me about how they found up here.
Interesting. I'm not sure why you're telling me, but you've come to the right person. Did you find a pattern then? What have you noticed?
Mentioned a river.
Yes. I understand many of our friends were carried here by a river current. What else? There are definitely some common threads there. But I think we'll need at least a few to ensure we're not just seeing coincidences. Keep asking people how they wound up here. I don't want us to rush to any conclusions yet. Livia's fate weighs heavily on my mind, and dictates we should be sure. Yes, you should ask the others first. Come back to me once you've acquainted yourself with the rest of our neighbors. Keeping an eye on things, Horatius?
As always, priestess.
Any news about Sentia?
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land.
Hey, you were the guy who was panicking about the lady getting crushed.
I'm Georgius. It gladdens me to see another foreigner in our midst. We must stick together, you and I. And I must say, my sartorial friend, your clothing is most extraordinary. Leather boots in place of sandals, trousers with precise stitching, and such a curious design. I have traveled distant trade routes from the markets of Damascus to the farms of India, and never have I seen anyone dressed quite like you. Tell me, I must know, from which exotic part of the world do you hail?
Ever believe me if I told you?
And now you have me more intrigued than before. But since it appears you do not wish to share, I will wait until we are better friends. We will have much time here to get to know one another. But for now, do you require assistance? I know you do not require clothing, so information perhaps?
I think like everyone has to die so that this guy doesn't start making 21st century styles in ancient Rome. I guess they could be trapped here for all eternity. I guess them being trapped here is why it's not fucking with the rest of the timeline. What's your story?
My story? How kind of you to ask. I am a tailor and I run the humble shop in the forum.
I set up a tailor shop.
You mean to say, with all the turmoil and terror of the Golden Rule and so few customers, why bother setting shop at all?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, it is precisely because of the Golden Rule that I wish to remind my friends of the importance.
Surprised they didn't call this game the Golden Rule, but I wonder if there's another game that was already called that.
Down here, the more we can preserve a semblance of normality, the better our chances of keeping.
Checking how long to beat.
Don't you agree?
Oh, there isn't. Huh. Suppose so.
And there is another reason too. If we all end up as golden statues for future generations to marvel at, I don't know about you, but I would like to look my best. A good question. A very good question indeed. And I would be happy to tell you if only I could remember it clearly myself.
Common thread. No one remembers how they got here.
I remember I had just been to Rome to sell an extraordinary selection of wares, and drowning in coin, I decided to celebrate my success. I rented a prestigious villa by the Tiber, invited over a few select friends, and we began making our way through some of the most exquisite wine money could buy. Quite a lot of it, in fact. Now, I have had visions and awoken in strange places before. I have even found myself naked in the desert sands more than once.
More than once?
None of that compares to this. This time, I remember people screaming, then falling into a void as empty as time before creation, gasping for air, and then nothing.
We're all in purgatory
when I regained
now.
my faculties, I was lying naked by the banks of the Tiber, gods know how many miles from my villa.
Down the Tiber?
Indeed. I'm lucky I was carrying a little extra weight. I believe it kept me afloat. In any case, it seems I'd been rescued and resuscitated by a benevolent stranger. I went to find firewood for his campfire, stumbled across a cave, and discovered that trapdoor temple. And here I am.
People mentioned a stranger.
Anything you like.
No way out of here. Be interesting if one of the people here is also from modern times and is just trying to blend in.
Have you not been told about the last attempt? Oh, then I suppose this duty falls to me. It is a long story.
Why don't you tell me?
Of course, the first question any of us asks when we first arrive is, how do I escape? It is only natural after all. And scaling the chasm wall is out of the question, for it is simply too steep and too far. But as they say, if the wind fails, use the oars. And here the second option is to leave the way we came in, through the shaft above the bathhouse. See, the shaft is quite high, but if one gathered up enough wood, one could make a series of ladders and climb one's way out.
Interesting. Why hasn't anyone done that yet? This whole thing is, since it's an interesting concept that everyone here got trapped in here, but they're all from this time period except for me. I happen to be from the future. It's kind of cool.
They have. I am getting to that.
They have.
There was an attempt made by resourceful fellows who lived here some years ago. They even decided to keep records of their escape attempt for posterity. Unfortunately, as soon as they began to carry the first ladder down the hallway, they heard a godlike voice shake the entire city, and that, tragically, is where their tale ends. So
you're not allowed to
that
leave?
to merely attempt escape is to invite the wrath of whichever god oversees this place. And so I say, it is best to not even discuss it aloud.
Which god is it?
Ah, yes. The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. As a Greek, this is nothing new to me. It is how our gods operate.
Why do you say that?
Have you not heard the tale of the god Hades? He was the first to learn this dreadful lesson when he abducted Persephone and imprisoned her in the underworld.
Yeah, I played a whole game about it. It was great.
When Demeter, the mother of Persephone, learned of this, she did not punish Hades, the guilty one. Instead, she changed the climate of Earth so that it became hot and dry. Nothing grew. The grain turned to empty husks and the rivers dried up. Innocent people died by the tens of thousands until at last the other gods were forced to act, lest they have no worshippers left. So yes,
This is gods like goats.
this has
Sounds like
always
you're saying
been the
goats.
case. The golden rule has merely brought it into focus.
What can we do about it?
If we are to survive, I say we must each heed the simple wisdom of Thales of Miletus, first of the 7 sages of Greece, who said, avoid doing what you would blame others for doing.
Okay, so yeah, a lot of people are restating like the golden rule, right? Do unto others, which would make sense because it's an extremely common bit of wisdom across many different cultures. Not simple enough.
Yes, doesn't it? But it is not enough for us to do this alone. For even if 99% of us adopt this principle, that will never be enough. Sadly, no matter how well we protect ourselves, the life's work of many good people can be undone in the blink of an eye by a single selfish act.
Seen it happen.
The voice of experience. I am sorry for your loss, my friend. But on a lighter note, I will say one thing for the golden rule. For all their grim and haunting poses, these golden statues do make magnificent models for my clothing, do they not?
Uh-huh. Who are you gonna vote for? Yeah, I wonder if the existing statues, if it's like people have been drawn here multiple times throughout history and they keep fucking up.
That, my friend, is quite the dilemma. But after some reflection, I'm leaning toward voting for Malleolus. I do not enjoy the thought of another visit from Domitius if I voted the wrong way.
Anything I can do to change that?
Nothing comes to my mind, my friend. This is troubling, is it not? I'm afraid I have no idea. It is ridiculous, though. Vergil is a fine man. But my young friend Fabia confided in me that she saw someone leaving graffiti on his shop front last night.
Your young
Perhaps
friend.
You should ask her about it. I hope that our paths cross
She's
again soon,
gonna
my friend.
callously walk into a shrine with a sign that clearly says this shrine is about to collapse.
This part of my shop is off limits, even for you, my sartorial friend.
Sorry, friend.
Sometimes I stare at the great temple on the bluff, and I think, ah, a new face. Salve.
You gonna vote for?
Malleolus is talking about loosening some of the restrictions in this place. And while it's all a bit vague, at least he has a vision. My vote isn't for sale, if that's what you're asking. Nice to talk to you.
That's why you always leave a note. I love that the dude at the beginning is like, oh, by the way, here's a zip line.
Private. Please leave.
Whatever's in that great temple up there on the bluff, I bet it's worth a fortune.
You want me to go up to the great temple up there on the bluff?
Help! You have to do something. A man arrived in the baths. A real nasty sort.
I have a weapon.
None of us do. The magistrate made us throw them all into the chasm. So now this man's bow is the only one in the city. You'll just have to improvise. Thank you. He's still in there, somewhere. I have to hide. Find me in this empty shrine when it's
This
over.
empty shrine. Do not go in there.
Why?
Just trust me.
All right, fine. Come and find me in my bakery instead. Please be careful.
I'm sure I can die by going in there. Earlet. Statues? I think so. You just lying down with your eyes open, you're not going to get up awkwardly when I talk to you?
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dying? She's been poisoned. She needs the resin of a plant called Silphium, but that Culus cubulates Desius won't give it to me.
Wish I could help.
It's too late. She just slipped away.
What happened?
She was poisoned. She came in here frothing at the mouth. Normally, I'd treat her with resin of Silphium, a rare plant which is perfect for this sort of thing. And I knew Desius had some at his market stall, right around the corner. So I ran over there, but he just looks at me with this evil smile and says, "That'll be 1,000 denarii." There was no way I could afford that, and he knew it.
I can via time
Then
loop
that
magic.
toad shrugs and says, "Supply and demand. I guess you don't value your friend's life that highly." Anywhere else, I'd just pay a thug to steal it from his stall. But there's no way I can do
Okay,
that
that's
down
my clue.
here with the golden rule. So all I could do is come back here and just watch her die. I kept on apologizing. And now I'll never know who poisoned her, or how they managed to do it without breaking the golden rule, or why she cursed that snake's cruel black eyes with her dying breath.
Something I can do to help.
Well, unless you have the power to bring someone back from the dead, there's really just one thing you can do. Get me that silphium resin. I'm going to have another patient in here soon. Could be in the next day, or in the next hour. And I will not allow this to happen.
Let me add this to your quest log in case you don't know about the time loop yet.
Make it happen, because if I lose another patient this way, I swear to the gods below, not even the golden rule will stop me from marching up to that genetricum fututo and scratching his eyes out. Well, come back if you get sick or injured. Day or night, I'll do what I can.
Big smiles, though. No items. Did that line earlier, I was like, did I come at the wrong time? I kind of just wanted to talk to you.
Feeling all right?
What's your story?
I'm Lucrecia, and I'm going to be straight with you. I'm not a physician. This is Nevia's clinic. I've just been filling in ever since she disappeared. I'm tired and out of my depth and miserable all the time. But I'd rather take this on myself than let one of you lot mess it up.
How'd you end up here?
My husband and I moved to Rome from Caesarea. He embraced the Roman way more than I would have liked, and turned into an awful philanderer. I would have divorced him and demanded the return of my dowry, but I knew he would sooner have me killed than give me my right. So I waited for the right time to take what was mine and disappear. And then the fires came. As he prepared to evacuate our villa, I gathered our most precious belongings, coins and gemstones, and the moment his back was turned, I ran. I could barely see for the smoke, and the streets were full of people trampling each other. I ran for the river, like everyone else, and leapt in. The next thing I remember, I was waking up on a riverbank, not far from here.
Sorry to hear that. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough is... I think it means the same thing as right on. But I've always heard that to mean like, well, I got nothing else to say to you about that, so I guess that's how I use right on.
It's all right.
It just comes off as weirdly aggressive.
At least my fornicating husband will never find me.
Hey
And
Charles, how
there's
you
no
doing?
shortage of snakes here. At least with the golden rule, they have to try to be discreet about it.
Are you working out of a shrine?
Oh, this shrine was in use as a clinic long before any of us arrived here. Kind of strange to set up a clinic in the temple of the god of disease. But the god who inflicts a curse is also the only god who can undo it. So I suppose praying to Apollo for healing kind of makes sense.
What about Nevia?
Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician. But she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good, too. Until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying. But I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues. Like she could talk to them.
That's normal.
And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering from terrible rheumatism. His joints are inflamed, and he's in constant pain.
Ooh.
I really shouldn't say. He wouldn't like it. And he's a little bit scary. He's become so irritable that the smallest things set him off. And I worry he'll
She's a
end up
gladiator
losing
guy.
his temper and lashing out. And you know what that means. I just know Nevia would know how to treat him, assuming she's still alive. But nobody seems to know how to get into the palace.
I'll get right on it.
Really? That would be wonderful. Thank you. Let me know how you go.
I love some of the tasks here. Like, create a time paradox, figure out a treatment for rheumatism. Right? Find a bow. Yeah, I got it, bud. Looks busy. I should try talking to him later. Doesn't look very busy to me. What are you doing?
Hey, Vergil, how much would you want to make
Oh,
me a
who's
bow?
about to have a scripted
Time, Desius.
dialogue?
I'm not making you a bow.
But why?
You know why.
But how am I going to defend myself against someone else with a weapon?
There are no other weapons in the city. We all went along with the magistrate's weapons ban, so it...
The many shall suffer for the sins
Stealing
of the
counts. Okay. It's me. I did it this time. I'm sorry. Main goal failed. Sorry. So I guess that could have happened really early if I stole some of the gold earlier. Guess I should try to commit as many crimes as possible after doing that, though. Thanks, man. Yeah. Where she dies. Okay.
Salve, friend. I'm Galerius. Mind telling me?
Had this conversation before. Actually, I wanted to talk to you again.
You, Sisyphus, attack or pursue the stone.
Hey, it's a forum. I think, right? Yo.
What are you doing in here? Can't you see this woman is dead? She needs the resin of a plant called sil.
I have some silphium resin. Take a little.
What? Quick, give it here. Iulia, you need to swallow this. Here, let me help you. Hopefully, in a moment, she should be able to breathe normally. That was extraordinary. How did you know she needed this exact thing? And at this exact moment? Are you some kind of oracle?
Yeah, there you go. I'm a time traveler.
A what? I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. I think it's your accent, because it
I'm a
sounded
meme
like
traveler.
you said time traveler. But whatever kind of traveler you are, that was like the gods hearing my prayers and intervening. You just saved a person's life, and you should be proud of yourself. She might even be able to thank you herself
In a few moments.
And maybe she can tell us who poisoned her, and who she meant when she was muttering about that snake's cruel black eyes. In the meantime, I'm happy to help you with whatever it is you need.
Oracle. I'm hearing the statues whispering. Is that normal?
Oh no. Sorry, I don't mean to worry you. But no, that is definitely not normal. There was one other person who claimed she could hear
I think it specifically said here take some of the resin, which I think implies that I have an infinite amount for future loops.
A little mad. Well, she used to run the clinic. She was a midwife, not a physician, but she was the closest thing we had down here. And she was good too, until she suddenly lost all interest in us. One day she told me she'd made some profound discovery about the golden statues. This changes everything, she kept saying, but I had no idea what she was talking about. The last time I saw her, the last time any of us saw her, she was muttering to the statues, like she could talk to them.
Pretty cool.
And then she shut herself in the palace, barred the door from the inside, and nobody's seen her since. She's been gone so long now, we figure she's either dead or up to something so strange that she doesn't want anyone else to know about it. But I really wish I could reach her, because that's the only hope I have of solving a troubling problem, a real thorn in the paw situation. One of my patients is suffering. He's become so irritable that I just know Navia would know how to...
See what I can do. Talk about Iulia?
Sure. What do you want to know?
If she was poisoned or was it self-inflicted?
Do you really want to know? I mean, if somebody poisoned her, then surely they would have broken the golden rule, and so maybe it's best we don't discuss it.
That's how that works.
Gladly.
No way out of here.
I wish. Some people here need proper medical care, not the half-baked, hanging by a thread excuse for treatment I'm giving them. Just don't get sick or injured here. I'll do my best to treat you, but I'm out of my depth and dangerously short on everything you can imagine.
Got it. What do you think about the golden rule?
A city without sin might sound good on paper, but whoever dreamt it up didn't think it through. Maybe it was an attempt to create some kind of utopia. But snakes like Desius will always find loopholes to exploit. And what can we do about it? Absolutely nothing. In some ways, we are worse off because we can't take the law into our own hands. That's a shame. Thanks again for saving Iulia's life. Apollo smiles upon you.
Cool. Hey, what's up, Iulia?
Oh, it's you. Sorry, I'm still a bit out of it. But thanks for trying to help me, I suppose. Was there something you wanted? Lucrecia says I'm supposed to rest.
What happened to you?
As much as I'm grateful that you tried to help me, it's just not safe for me to talk about it. Please, no more questions.
She poisoned herself. Someone poisoned you without breaking the golden rule.
The golden rule. That's the least of my worries. The gods may be cruel, but Malleolus and Claudia are far crueler.
Is that who poisoned you?
Please, just leave me alone. I don't want to talk about it.
Can't help unless you tell me what happened.
Persistent as Nemesis, aren't you? I can tell you.
That was easy.
It's a long saga.
All the time in the world.
All right. I'd been here about a week when it dawned on me I'd be trapped here for the rest of my life. I could hardly breathe, and I knew I had to get out somehow.
Poison yourself.
So when my new friend Aurelia offered me a secret way out, I would have done anything. And then I learned her asking price. 1,000 denarii. She was supposed to be my friend.
Everybody charges 1,000 denarii
I told her
here.
it would take me years to save up that much. So she suggested I take out a loan from Malleolus. And I did.
We lend you so much money because you buy or vote.
I had to sign an agreement saying I'd work off the debt over 30 years. But I figured I'd be out of here so soon it wouldn't matter.
The way out was a suicide pill.
Aurelia, and she gave me her so-called way out. Do you want to know what it was? Hemlock.
Yep. Oh no.
Drink this, she said, and you'll be out of here in no time. Of course, I demanded my money back, but she refused. She pointed to a sign on her tavern saying, "Let the buyer beware." Then she just looked at me with those cruel black eyes and she laughed. She immediately told Malleolus I'd tried to escape without paying him back. Only, he didn't seem upset or surprised at all. In fact, he just thanked her. And that's when I realized the two of them had planned the whole thing from the beginning.
It's pretty fucked. Surely that would have broken the golden rule.
That's what I said to the magistrate. I went to Sentius and begged for help, but he said the law was clear.
Oh, is it breaking the law? Like human law?
30 years, and there was nothing he could do. I thought about resisting.
Interesting. It's about law versus morality.
Malleolus said if I didn't submit,
that came up in an early conversation with Sentius.
And I couldn't be responsible for all those deaths, so he locked me in his villa, confiscated everything I owned as collateral, and made me wear immodest, humiliating outfits while I worked day in, day out. His wife Claudia was just as bad. She set me to work on an endless stream of futile, demeaning tasks. I'd be on my hands and knees, scrubbing the floor clean for hours, only for her to pour
a lawful
slop on
neutral
it and hiss,
Roman
"You
or
missed a
Roman
spot."
contemporary deity.
Those two took everything from me.
Not ruling out that it's not a Roman deity.
But they forgot to confiscate one thing. My hemlock.
She kidnapped herself.
I just wanted it to be over. But it seems I messed that up too. Should have drunk all of it. I brought it on myself. I trusted one of the most callous human beings I've ever met, and tried to swindle the other. I don't know how I could have been so stupid.
What'll happen to you now?
When I've recovered, I expect their thug Domitius will come for me. He'll escort me back to their villa, and I'll be right back where I started. Only this time, I won't be able to lull myself to sleep at night with the thought of a permanent solution.
Sorry.
Honestly, it would have been better if the poison had been allowed to run its course.
Anything you can do to help?
I doubt it. It seems this is the fate the gods have chosen for me, for trying to escape. At least until someone breaks the golden rule. Huh. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
She should just do it. How much would it cost to buy your freedom?
A lot. But it doesn't matter. I made a suicide pact with Ulpius last night. He's in exactly the same position as I am. Malleolus and Aurelius set the same trap for him a month after they did it to me. He and I are in this together. He's probably already thrown himself from the bluff into Malleolus's villa by now. If so, I'd never be able to live with myself, knowing I broke my promise to him.
Perhaps I can help him too.
I doubt you could make it up to the bluff in time. I don't know who you are, or why you seem so determined to help me, but thank you.
Get right on it.
Oh, it's you again.
What do you think about the golden rule?
Our priestess, Equitia, once told me it's the god's way of creating a city without sin. But if that's the case, then whichever god is responsible for it didn't think it through. I mean, all it really does is make bad people better at hiding their sins, and good people too frightened to stand up for themselves. I've seen Malleolus, Claudia, and Domitius make grown men cry. Romans. They don't cry easily. They've never physically hurt anyone. But the point is, they don't have to. They've got people running scared because everyone knows Malleolus is the favorite to win today's election.
Working on that.
Really? Then I hope fortune smiles on you, friend.
Wow, she really puckered up at that. You know, way out of
If
here?
that's your idea of a joke, it's not funny. Go away.
Really?
I know what kind of person you are. Leave me alone.
Alright. Just picking all the options. Sorry. I mean, I know that was...
May Apollo keep you safe.
Wasn't clear what parts of the story I was supposed to know in the dialogue tree.
Name's Rufius. Better watch your step.
What's up, Rufius? It's your story.
Can't talk long. Got to stay sharp, but... family's from Seleucia on Tigris. Babylon province. But I've been roaming a long time now. Even joined the legions. The 6th. The one they call Ironclads.
Did you end up here?
Same way as everyone else.
Are you still wearing your armor?
Because we're all in grave danger. Is it not obvious?
Why don't you have a weapon?
Magistrate made me toss it in the chasm. Stupid. Going to have to improvise now.
Much of a talker are you?
If you were dealing with what I am, you wouldn't be either.
Suffering from rheumatism?
Nobody is supposed to know about that. Did Lucrecia tell you?
Figured it out on my own.
Look, I haven't been at my best lately. All my joints ache constantly, and the pain. It has a way of messing with your head. I get stirred up by things that shouldn't bother me, and then there's the statues, and my doubts about my faith. And I just want to scream.
Fair.
You want to help me? Do what Lucrecia hasn't been able to do. And find me something to make the pain go away. Until then, get out of my face.
Okay, bye, Rufius.
Ave.
It's all the way up there.
On your best
I've been up
behavior,
that
I
high
trust.
before, I don't think. Don't think the zip lines work in reverse, right?
Oh, another one fresh out of the baths, I take it.
That's me. Whoops. Uh-oh, I don't know what my last autosave was. Be nice if I could get the weapon down here. You are dead. Whoops.
You win again, Gravity!
I did not mean to do that. Oops. Oh, she doesn't hate me now?
Oh. Oh, a priest. But
Oh, wait.
Thank you. But to be honest... You mean my life story?
Big family in Rome.
Our father found good husbands.
Good husbands. Scribe for prominent merchants.
For a while. We must have had 100 workers, but they
Curse
fell
of
on deaf
Vulcan.
ears. The fire was relentless. My employer told me to grab what
Went to the
valuables I
river.
could. I remember diving into the
Dove
river.
into the
and
river,
then...
waking up on the riverbank.
Thank you.
I don't know why fair enough. It's
Oh.
weird. Must be like a regional thing. I didn't develop right on until I had a coworker say it in the
May
like,
Apollo keep you safe.
late aughts. I like that. I like right on. That's very 70s. It's a nice way to say, I heard what you said and internalize it and have nothing more to add to the conversation.
Better watch.
Save, try not to fall this time. A new common thread, I guess that's nice. Talk to the statues. There's another path through here, maybe there is. See with their eyes, hear with their ears, speak with their tongues. Roger. This one, you get up to the bluff. Zip line there. That's just a shortcut for later. Awkward ass first person ladder. Thanks used pretty like passive aggressively as like a way to shut down conversation. Bucket A, I think, also means the same thing. Hey, don't jump.
Salve, friend. I'm Octavia. Welcome to life under the golden rule.
I'm not here to talk to you. Talk to this guy, it's about to jump.
How are you faring so far?
Ulpius.
All right, well, it was lovely to meet you. I look forward to getting to know you better over the coming months. And if you ever...
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh no.
I tried.
No. Ulpius, what are you doing? Get back from there. If you lose your balance, you'll fall.
That's the idea.
What? Why? Why would you want that?
Why do you think I'm stuck for the rest of my life working for a man who treats me like an animal?
I know things are hard for you right now. They're hard for all
Under
of us.
normal circumstances, you would just be talking to her and this would happen in the middle of the conversation.
Please just think this through. If you do this, it could be the sin that seals all of our fates. Is that what you want?
I'm sorry, but I just don't care anymore.
Please, Ulpius. Help him. If he goes through with it, it could be the end for us all. I don't know what to do. I've never had to deal with this sort of thing. Please, you need to talk to him.
I said I was going to.
Thank you. And please, choose your words carefully.
Let me guess. You're going to lecture me on how suicide is a crime against the Empire?
No? His voice actor sounds familiar.
You're not going to trick me. I'm no coward. I intend to go through with it.
Her reasons to stay
Like
alive.
what? I'm stuck slaving away for that culus cumulatis for the rest of my life. What do I have to live for?
We can be friends?
You're just saying that to buy time.
Yeah,
You
that's
must think I'm an idiot. I'm out. Wherever you are. Sentilla, my love. I'm sorry.
Ulpius, no! I can't believe he went through with it. Oh Lord. That poor lamb.
Is that my fault? Suicide didn't break the golden rule. What does that mean?
Well, I suppose it means suicide isn't a sin under the golden rule. So so I guess that means whichever god is responsible for it. It isn't mine.
Who's your god? Was that my fault?
That was not your fault. There's no way you could have given him what he wanted, moments after you arrived.
What happens
I'll have to
now?
let everyone know what happened. And I guess Malleolus will have to clean up the mess in his villa. It's of his own making, after all. And I'd best pray for poor Ulpius.
The whispering statues lead you to jump, that's great.
I hope you're coping.
You're a Christian?
Please keep that to yourself. I know you're not from around here, but things are very difficult for us right now.
That's also
There was
not
a
something I'm
terrible
sure was
fire
super
last
clear.
year, and our emperor
in, like,
decided to make us his scapegoats.
Early century
There were
apocalyptic Christianity.
executions. It was horrible.
Secret saved me.
Oh,
Fair
thank you.
enough.
You have no idea how much I appreciate that. Here, in this place, the magistrate has me earning my keep by cleaning and pruning the gardens. It's not quite how I expected my life to go. I used to live in a
Hope someone makes a
villa
Forgotten City mod that just replaces all the fair
I was
enoughs
even
with
betrothed
fucking
to a
A.
handsome young man from a prominent family. But long hours of menial labor for the good of the community has its own charms too, I suppose.
How'd you end up here?
Oh, much the same way as many of the others. When the fires came to Rome 7 months ago, my family and I fled for the Tiber, hoping to escape on a barge. We were among the fortunate ones with enough coins for passage.
The Latin for fucking A.
Unfortunately, there were a lot of desperate people, and they boarded before we could depart. A scuffle broke out, and I was pushed overboard. The last thing I remember was the water, rising up to hit my cheekbone. I woke up by the river, near that shrine, and stumbled across this place.
Fucking A.
Oh, that's all right. I'm sure it's all part of God's plan.
I'm sorry to hear that, / fucking A. Do you mean the
Yes,
gods?
of course. A slip of the tongue. If you like.
Get me out of here.
I'm afraid not. Although, I did once hear someone gossiping down at Aurelia's tavern about a possible way out. I don't put a lot of stock in such rumours, but if you're desperate and wealthy, you could look into it, I suppose. If that doesn't work, then I suppose we're all stuck here until the gods decide our fate.
It's definitely a scam.
Oh, I see. Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm sorry I even suggested it. I won't make that mistake again.
Ah, but you will.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one. I think about those words a lot. I'd like to think that if we all love our neighbours as ourselves and do to them as we'd have them do to us, then we'll all be fine. But on the other hand, I was always taught the intent of man's heart is evil from his youth, and that all of us are born with a tendency.
It's not like a modern-day Catholic, Octavia.
That's where I get stuck. Is it true?
Well,
are we born with a tendency
also
towards sin?
early Catholic, but not that early of a Christian, I don't think. I think people are fundamentally good.
You don't think that's a little naive?
I think people are fundamentally
I
neutral.
suppose you've never seen what I've seen. Innocent men and women, torn apart in
Systems
arenas while
and
thousands of Romans look on.
Pressures shape people into who they are. They have little control over it, unfortunately.
I wish I shared your faith.
I'll be going now.
So soon? Well, be gentle on yourself. We're all dealing with a tragic loss today.
There probably isn't free will, but it's worth pretending like there's free will so that we can have a society. It's a useful fiction. They urinated into Malleolus' villa from above and got away with it. Oh, there's water down there. Some shiny stuff. Now I'm tempted, and I want to go talk to him with the information he gave me anyway.
Thank you. Thank you. I am.
It's cool. High diver.
Deeply honored to have been elected.
Oh, this is a locked villa. That was a lead.
Yes, thank you.
That's cool.
Righty then.
Huh, that's a pretty cool secret. I dig that. Suicide note directed at Malleolus. Has this Malleolus' house? Yeah. Just lost love. May God watch over you. Held on as long as I could. Life is meaningless. Possible. The one in the water? I thought that was just like a cute little flavor thing. Carrots are purple. Before modern orange carrots were cultivated. It's a nice touch. Let's see if there's anything cool I can get intelligence-wise before I talk to this dude. Door's locked. Yo, how'd you get in here?
Did you just leap into my villa from the...
Hey, we know who this guy is.
That was either extremely reckless or impressively clever.
Chromia.
Well, why have you risked life and limb to see me? I'm Malleolus, and if it wasn't for this
interesting, the Malleolus. I thought it was me Malleolus from all the other notes we saw, but I wasn't expecting him to have the eyes. You do if you win.
I'm glad you asked. I'll finally restore freedom to this city, just as I've been promising. These good people have suffered long enough under Sentius' tyranny.
Do that.
By declaring there's no such thing as the Golden Rule. It's a children's fable exploited by Sentius to frighten us into submission. Wait, don't tell me you've fallen victim to that monstrous lie?
It's definitely real.
Nonsense. There's no way you can prove that. If it was real and you'd seen someone break it, then you'd be dead already.
Time loop. What would it take to prove you that it's real?
Surely you're not one of those people who believes everything you read. As if a lie could be transformed into the truth by the simple act of writing it down.
Give me a thing, and I'll bring it back in time. Reliving the same day.
What? Oh, I see what's happening here. Another poor, vulnerable soul taken in by Sentius' machinations. He won't get away with this much longer.
Yeah, the NPC tells you to jump. And also, maybe you want to jump. You look down, you see the water and the flashy things.
I disagree. I'll be guided by what is best for the city's people, and that means giving them the freedom to do as they wish. True, but that is simply because you are mistaken.
Also the fact that, like, you get the idea that, oh, I need to start another loop to be able to use this information from the guy, right? This seems like a convenient way to trigger another loop. I guess if you die, that doesn't trigger a loop, does it? I think in Outer Wilds still. No way out of here.
I'm afraid not. We're stuck down here together, for better or worse. We're all going to have to make the best of it.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
You mean the children's fable exploited by Sentius to scare us all into doing what he wants?
Think about Sentilla's disappearance.
Of course not. But as I always say, if Sentius can't protect his daughter, how can we trust him to protect this city?
Aren't you telling me?
If you're trying to find her, you may wish to check
Everybody
the
repeats that.
beneath this villa. Domitius says he saw a body there some weeks back. Of course, just to be clear, I take no responsibility for what
I do have that
happens
pendant.
down there. I trust you can see yourself out. Through the door this time? There's a key just beside it.
Alright, now maybe when I talk to the assassin, I can bring him up as...
You again. I try through.
There's a key by the door, so that's nice. He's gonna give me a key to his house. What a nice guy. So I don't have to dive in here next time. It's a cool thing to give to a home invader.
Still here.
Thanks, man. He's pretty good about doling out breadcrumbs, too. Key to the villa also open this door. What's up?
You're not supposed to be in here.
The door's in the way. My bad. We talk.
What business could you possibly have with me?
Why are you locked in this room?
My marital affairs are no concern of yours. Thank you very much.
What's your story?
I think the better question is, why am I being interrogated by a stranger who just barged into my villa?
Malleolus was way more chill about this.
Already, without having to explain to my husband why I am receiving strange men in private.
No way out of here?
Preferably the way you came in, by which I mean, please leave.
You think about the golden rule?
I think it's about to be broken if you don't hurry up and leave.
Think about Sentilla's disappearance.
The beautiful thing from next door. Of course not. As much as I despise her father, I would never lay a finger on that poor, sweet child.
You're hiding something.
Well, I've had quite enough of this.
Domitius, come quickly. We're being robbed.
Well, may as well actually rob her then. She's got nothing worth robbing. Oh shit. Yeah, may as well rob her then.
The many shall suffer for the sins of the one.
What kind of trickery is this?
It's fine. Thanks for the time loop. Head up to the bluff real quick. I feel like they should let you ignore this guy. You should take care of some things urgently.
Sounds serious. I'm listening.
That's new. Iulia's dying, but Lucrecia can't help her without the Sylphium. Take some of it and go quickly.
Iulia? Oh no. All right, I can do that.
That's cool. I kind of like that, actually.
I'll go, but once I'm done, I'll need you to tell me how you know all of this.
It's cool. I like that. So now I understand why you can still talk to that guy. I thought maybe the final solution to this was going to be similar to Outer Wilds, where like it's a sequence of like a bunch of things that you have to do within a single loop, and remember to do all of them so you don't like bumble into it by accident. Would your GF think of this?
Salve, Fred. Welcome to... All right.
I can't believe this is how it ends.
Oh, no. No. No, 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 no. Oh,
That...
what?
Why do you...
That's what Sentilla would want.
You know about that? How is that possible? I mean, I've never mentioned it to anyone. Well, if you say so.
Yeah, I was worried about
you don't
12 minutes.
understand. I don't want to hurt anyone.
Let me skip through his dialogue a bit, though.
I want it all to be over. It's too late for that. Iulia and I made a pact, and she's already swallowed hemlock this morning. If I backed out now, I'd be betraying her.
Okay, so I could solve this before Iulia.
I can't do that.
Don't worry, she's fine. She's gonna be fine.
Oh, really? That changes things a little. But we're still in debt bondage to that monster.
I do, actually. I just stole it from him.
Unless you happen to have 2,000 denarii to pay off both of our debts.
Actually, I do.
Really? Wait. So, I guess you'd want me to work for you then?
Nope, you'd be free.
You'd do that for us? A couple of complete strangers.
Pay him tomorrow.
It seems today we're both blessed. This did not turn out how I thought. Thank you, friend. I never thought people like you existed.
Here's your money.
Thank you. I'll go and pay off our debts immediately.
Can you get me some kind of like certificate?
There was some way I could repay you. But I have nothing but the tunic on my back. I'll go and take care of things with Malleolus and tell Iulia the good news. Thanks again, friend. I'll never forget what you did for us.
You could give me like a certificate that says the debt has been paid. I'd really appreciate that. Man, he's really sprinting. So now I know a source of a shitload of money if I ever need it in a future loop.
Welcome.
Way to go right
Iulia.
past.
I'm so glad you didn't go through with it.
I did, actually.
It wasn't for lack of trying. And now Malleolus is going to... Wait. Why do you look so happy?
We're free. Malleolus just released us and we never have to set foot in that villa again.
What? How?
The newcomer arranged it somehow.
That's me.
Really? That's incredible. Oh, what a relief. I don't know what to say.
You don't need to say anything. Just rest up, get your strength back, and we'll celebrate properly when you're ready.
I will. Thank you, Ulpius. I will.
Shalom.
Shalom. Sentilla.
Sentilla and I were in love. And then, 22 days ago, she went missing.
Just over the beginning.
All right. One night a few months ago, when I was cleaning Malleolus's villa, I heard a young woman singing. It was the most beautiful thing I had ever heard. I wasn't allowed out, so once everyone else was asleep, I climbed up the inside of the villa and onto the roof, just to see where that sound was coming from. And that's when I saw her.
That's another clue.
Standing in the garden of the magistrate's villa. I just sat there on the roof, listening to her with my chin on my knees. And for the first time in a long time, I felt hopeful. And then she looked up and saw me and she smiled. I knew at that moment the fates had brought me to her. And from the moment she asked my name with this warmth and curiosity, I knew I'd have done anything for her. And so for weeks on end, each night I'd climb out of the villa and into her father's garden. We'd hold hands and talk about all the things we'd do once we got out of here. like having our own vineyard. And then one morning I woke up
Vineyard.
and everyone was out searching for her. They said she'd vanished in the night. All I could do was keep my head down and try to hide how beside myself I was.
Possible she escaped?
All I know is she loved me. And if she had known a way out, she would have told me. She'd never have taken her own life. And there's no way anybody could have killed her under the Golden Rule. I can't prove it, but I just know she's still alive somehow. Even now, it's as if I can hear her voice in my head, crying out to me. That can only mean one thing. Somebody abducted her. I have no idea how, or who would want to do something like that to such a sweet, lovely girl. But what else could have happened?
Any ideas about who might have taken her?
My guess? Malleolus had something to do with it. He is without doubt
His
the
name is
most evil
Malleolus.
man I have ever known. I have no idea where he'd be keeping her.
Malleolus
but
the
there is one room in his
Devilicus.
villa, upstairs, which is always locked. I've never seen the inside of it. And I haven't been
Pretty
able
sure
to
they
steal a
told us
key
the whole
without
story
breaking the
about
golden
gods
rule.
being in
But I have a
disguise.
feeling that if you could get in there somehow, it would shed light on a great many things.
No sign of Sentilla in there.
Really? I was sure he was hiding something in there. I feel like I've looked everywhere. At least everywhere I could get to. There are still two places I've never been able to reach. First, the palace. If Navia managed to get in, then I suppose Sentilla could have too. The only other place she could be is somewhere in the cistern network.
I found the cistern.
remember hearing that Iulia had been poking around in the upper cistern before he was locked up. So you could ask him about it, I suppose.
I kicked the shit out of the guy.
All right, friend. Thanks for the chat. Shalom.
Any more ideas on where Sentilla might
I
be?
feel like I've looked everywhere. At least, first, the only... I remember... You
What's
mean
your
where
story?
am I from and all that? Judea, originally.
We're about at time. I
But
got
when
about 3
was a
minutes left, so I'm
child,
gonna
I
finish
moved to
this up.
Rome with my family. Romanized my name and spent most of my life in the Jewish district of Trans-Tiberim, across the Tiber from the main city. That's where I was when the fires broke out. Everyone was running toward the river, and I, listening to my inner contrarian, ran the other way. Every road leading out of Rome was in chaos, full of people with all their belongings in carts and brigands preying on them. Several hours down the Appian Way, I saw another Jewish family being attacked by 3 opportunists. So I picked up a branch from the side of the road and went to defend them. I can only assume they got the better of me because the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a forest, by a river not far from here, with no
It's
memory of how
purgatory.
I got there. It's strange though, because I still had my purse on me.
Tiber's like the river
Why
Styx
would
or
a robber
something.
knock me unconscious and throw me in a river, but not take my coins?
So those were in Rome before they woke up in the forest. You're saying you were several hours away.
You're right. I always just assumed the river carried me, but I'm not sure.
Did you
I was
wake up
anywhere
in the
near
bosom of
Tiber when I
Abraham?
fell. I'm sure it'll all
Sheol?
make sense if we ever get out of here.
Really? It's 8? Okay, thank you.
I don't. But even if I did, I'm not going anywhere. I have unfinished business.
What do you think about the Golden Rule?
Well, neither of us have a couple of hours to stand around talking about theology, law, and collective punishment, so I guess you're looking for a pithy summary? You remind me of an old story from my people about Hillel the Elder.
Yeah, Rabbi Hillel.
He was approached by a Gentile and asked to explain the entire Torah while he stood on one foot. Obliging, he replied, "What is hateful
The rest
to
is
you,
commentary, yeah.
do not do
The
to
rest
another.
is Mishra.
That is the whole Torah.
Midrash, rather, excuse me.
The rest is commentary. Go and learn." Of course, what I want to know is, what kind of a god sees a young woman abducted and does nothing about it? Not my god. That's for sure.
So everybody's referring to different cultural ideas of the actual Golden Rule, which is fun.
Thanks. I just wish there was a way to find out.
Who are you going to vote for?
Sentius, I suppose. I'd have to be insane to vote for Malleolus after what he did to me.
Fucking A.
All right, friend. Thanks for the chat.
All right, future Marstead. Here's what's up. You can sprint with left trigger. If you need money, climb up on the bluff above the starting area and jump into the water to get... Well, actually, you don't need to do that anymore. You can just go into... You have a key now to go into the villa of Malleolus. There's a chest in the room upstairs with Claudia that has like 2,000 gold in it. You can steal it and then go reset the time loop if you need it to like save Ulpius again. Malleolus has the heterochromia eyes that the assassin mentioned, so you can try going back to the assassin and telling him to go after Malleolus and see what happens. But there's a whole bunch of other breadcrumbs if you press the Y button. If you just press Y and look through this, maybe if you're reading or listening to these notes a little bit before stream, boot up the game and just read through them really quick. It'll be a pretty good recap of what you've done so far and what is still remaining to do. Well, good luck. Thanks, Leon. This game is really cool. I'm excited to play more of it.